What's up? Welcome to the religious deconstruction video thing. My name's Gable. You may not know me. You may have accidentally stumbled across this video, but I would encourage you to stay for just a few minutes. A little warning is that it is going to be vulgar from time to time, so if you can't handle that, I'm very sorry. And there are a lot of people having this dialogue that aren't as vulgar as me. So they would probably love for your subscriptions and viewership. Anyway, let's get into it. I did not grow up in a Christian home. I grew up in a home with two drug addicts. My dad was a heroin user and my mom was on speed. Both of them drank. We spent many nights at the bar, and by many I mean most nights we spent at the bar. My parents separated when I was eight-ish. And there's a whole bunch of baggage and drama in that part of the story that I'll share later. The point of what I just mentioned, however, is that I didn't grow up in a Christian home. I grew up in a very volatile home. I grew up in two different homes after my parents split up, and both of them had a lot of chaos. It wasn't until I was, probably a sophomore in high school that a friend invited me to this thing called Young Life. And I went, and it was a lot of fun, and people were acting really stupid, and there was skits and games and hot girls, and so I was in. So I spent the next school year, being involved with them, and made a decision to follow Jesus, and became a full-blown follower of the Lord when I was like 17 years old. By the time I was 19, I was the lead singer of a Christian rock and roll band. I was employed by my church, I was speaking at churches, I was volunteering with Young Life still, I was leading Bible studies in small groups, and I had really just thrown myself into everything Christianity that I could. This doorknob is really distracting. As the videos grow, I'll find better backdrop. Let's see. What if we just, oh look, no more doorknob. Anyway, thanks for bearing with me. I threw myself into this very conservative, very late 90s expression of church, of Christian church. And in retrospect, I learned how to hate more things than I learned how to love them. And I learned how to despise more things than I learned how to have grace for others. And I was learning a lot of don'ts. Don't do this, don't say that, don't go here, don't go there, don't be a part of this group, don't do these things, don't say these things. And everything was very relegated to do's and don'ts. And so that's what I knew. I became very legalistic, very judicial in my faith, very judgmental. I was a real ass bag to a lot of people, and it wasn't intentional. I was an ass bag on the concept of saving them or showing them the truth. And in retrospect, I was just being a real big dick to people because I didn't have any grace. I didn't have any lens or filter of grace. And so I'm now 35. I'll be turning 36 later this month. It's May of 2018. I know that these videos live forever, so there's a little context there. And in these 20 years, I've gone through a lot of shit. And I imagine that you too have gone through a lot of shit. A lot of shit that is hard to explain with the same faith structure that you had before all of this shit. Fair? If that's fair, and that's where you're coming from, and that's your perspective right now, then we may get along just fine. And with that, I just want to discuss one brief element of this deconstruction on the first video so that you and I have a little bit of relatability. What I started to do is strip away the things that I thought were silly about my faith. They weren't all bad. They're not all bad. They're not all super weird either, and they're not all harmful. So there's no hyperbolic speak about which things were and weren't good or right or whatever. All I'm saying is I had to start tearing away some of the things that I thought was really silly. in starting to tear those things away, I became much more gracious of a human, much more inclusive, much more accepting of other people that I previously maybe didn't understand. And that's when my faith and the expression of my faith really started to change. Then I had some faith experiences, some shit that I still can't explain. And it's in some of those experiences that my coffee maker's turning off. Sorry. Not sorry. It's in some of those experiences that I really needed to come to a balance, because I now had some shit that was spiritual that I couldn't explain, but I have this text and I have these rules and I have these other things that some of it I just thought was silly, and I began to try to mush those together to try and press out the truth. So think of a juice press, right? Like that's what I was trying to press together, all of these things to distill out what I thought might be truth. And I'm still on that journey. I started that journey probably 10 years ago. And I'm still there. It does this, as you very well know, that when you are searching, it's a lot of unknown. It's a lot of questioning. It's a lot of doubt. It's a lot of wondering if you're fucking crazy. It's a lot of people telling you that you're fucking crazy. And I just want to say this in closing. I don't know how long all these videos are going to be in length. I don't really think I'm going to have much structure to, like, each video is going to be 10 minutes long. I have a podcast. Each podcast session is only is 20 minutes or less. So I have some structure there. I don't need the structure here. If you relate to some of the shit that I'm saying in some of the process, then I'm going to ask that you subscribe and we keep going on this journey. It's fun. I hope that we can help each other grow through comments, DMing, emailing, however that we want to connect with one another. I hope that we can really be beneficial. I also know that there are going to be folks in the comments that aren't so nice, and that's okay. That's okay. You and I don't need people's comments to derail the process that we're on. Because my process isn't about coming to a truth that I can then teach. My process is simply about digging and discovering. And so if you're down to dig and discover with me, let's do it. Subscribe somewhere, wherever that damn button is, and hang on for the ride. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I appreciate you watching. If you want to follow on social, it's at Dennis Gable. I just wrote it out for you. At Dennis Gable, basically everywhere except my YouTube channel, which is /Dennis Gable, DOTCOM for .com. Anyway, have yourself a great day. I appreciate it. Get in contact with me if you'd like, and we'll do this again real soon. Cheers.